So we are
Boom!
officially
We're recording.
we are recording, man. How's it going, Jesse?
It's going awesome, man. It's another day to improve, be a better version of myself, get
Uh-huh.
some deals locked up, and teach some people some awesome conversion stuff.
Fantastic, man. So tell us a little bit about you, your business, and
Sure.
like who you are, man. So
Yeah,
that we
man.
can, yeah.
So my name is Jesse Bush. I live in York, Pennsylvania, which is a tiny little town, about 45 minutes north of Baltimore and about an hour north of Washington, D.C. It was the
So,
original capital of the United States. It was like the very first place where the U.S. decided to become the U.S., about a mile down the street from my house. And I do a lot of wholesaling. I also do some like conversion coaching, sales coaching, and then we also do some fix and flips and some buy and holds on long-term investments for real estate.
awesome, awesome. Man, you do a lot.
I try to stay a little bit busy, doing as little of work as possible.
100%, 100%. So, man, the reason why I have you here, so tell us a little bit, when did you start with Hessel? Like, when did you start and how's the program so far?
Sure. So originally I was with Hessel with another wholesaling company that I was part of. And I had an awesome experience with them. We had done several deals that were super profitable and really good for the business. And then in August, that partnership kind of just ran its course, ran its direction. Excuse me one second. And it kind of ran its course, ran its direction. And I decided to go out and pursue it on my own for a change. So I just started up my own company doing the exact same thing. And one of the biggest things that I was interested in from the very beginning, as you know, was making sure that I could get back on with Hessel as fast as I could. And there's a lot of reasons for that, which I'd be happy to go into.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. The first is that with Hessel Media, it's a lot different. I come from a background, I've been in sales, this type of thing for about 20 years now. And what my biggest experience of the difference with Hessel, as opposed to, any of the other people out there that are trying to, hey, we'll run your PPC ads, we'll do Facebook, all that type of stuff, is with Hessel, they're giving you a full service marketing agency for a bargain of a price. And what I mean by that is that between the CSM interactions, the customer service and account managers interactions that they have with even myself as a client on a day-to-day basis, the automation that is already built into the CRM that when we were looking at other CRMs before would have been thousands upon thousands of dollars to get either set up for me or to take and dedicate my time into trying to get the CRM to where I wanted it to be, as well as all the back end support. I think that for a person like myself, it's not really as much about the money as it is the value. If you told me, hey, you got to spend $10,000 a month and you get this amount of value, that's okay with me. The cool thing is with Hessel is it's not $10,000 a month. It's a fraction of that, but I actually get just as much, if not more value from it. And it's just been a great experience working with you, working with Laura, working with Carlos and a couple of the different account managers. It's always been an experience for me that, like I tell everybody, and I even talk to some of the newer clients for Hessel, and I tell them that the great thing about being with Hessel is that sometimes in the wholesale business, especially when people are first starting out, or even like myself, where you've been doing it for a while, you've been successful at it, but suddenly your whole paradigm changes and you don't have an acquisition team and a disposition team and a back office support help and everything like that. You need to be able to tap into those resources of help and try and be able to have people that are on your team, even if they're maybe not right beside you. So it's like I try and tell people, the great thing about being with Hessel Media is that even though you're on your own, you're never alone, because you have such a wealth of information from the account managers to the actual library of resource material to just a huge social media group of other people similar to myself that are not only willing to jump on a call with you, willing to get on a weekly, conversion training to help make sure that you get your numbers down to a 1 out of 3, because this business really should be at around a 30 to 35% out of the conversations that you have. Valid conversations, you should be able to convert about 1/3 of those into somewhat profitable deals for yourself. And if you're not, that's fine. That's okay. We all have a starting point. The great thing with Hessel is that they're there and they have the programs and the systems in place to be able to get you from starting out at the very bottom step to within about 30 to 60 days, I would say, you should be somewhere around the 6th or 7th step, as long as you're willing to be accountable to yourself, your family, your business, et cetera, and actually take the time to learn the material, learn the information, and then implement the systems that are actually put forward in front of you. So that's the reason that I chose to not just be with Hessel originally, but rush to get back with Hessel, as you could attest. Our first conversation was like, look, I don't give a shit what I got to do, Afi. Just tell me what hoops I got to jump through. I need to get my account turned back on ASAP. And obviously you guys are always super helpful in facilitating all that type of stuff. I know that I can reach out to you, Carlos, anybody. And even if it's 8:30 at night, it's 99% of the time you're getting a response within, 3 to 5 minutes, which from a customer service standpoint, I don't know any other company in this space that's set up to grow as big as what Hessel is, but that still remembers our primary focus is on that brand new client, that brand new guy that's hungry, that wants to get out there. This isn't a business, and I'm not saying my business, I'm just saying this industry space isn't a business that's built on these guys that you see that, don't get me wrong, they're great at what they do. The guys that are running these massive burr groups and sub 2 groups and stuff like that, but you can't always get access to those types of people. I might not be able to get access to somebody super easily that's out there doing, 30 to 50 deals a month, but I have a huge resource of people out there that are doing 5 to 12 deals a month. I have guys out there that I can easily tap into, that if I have a question, or if I'm not familiar with how to do a novation or a subject to type of deal or an owner financing, I can get on the Facebook group, type in a few comments, and within a minute or two, I've got 4 or 5 different answers from guys that are in this industry doing it on a daily basis, which I can't say enough how helpful that is. Not just for a person like myself that's been doing this for a long time, but also for people that are brand new and just starting out. Again, it kind of goes back to that one team, one dream mentality. Whereas if we all have the same goal, then it's not about who's better, who's worse, who's doing more, who's doing less. We're all working towards trying to increase our performance, increase our conversion, and make the most amount of money possible, which I think that's why we all kind of do this, is for the end result.
Yeah, man. I love that. I love it. You mentioned about having increased conversion, what would you say from the leads that we have sent to you? What is your biggest conversion? Like, how were you able to convert these leads into clients and all that? I know that that's one of the biggest struggle when the lead comes in, the following up process of that, and also trying to close this deal. What would you say, what's your process when the lead comes in to your pipeline? What is the first thing that you do to be able to convert that lead?
So the first, maybe I'm a little different than some people. The first thing I would like to do, honestly, is call the person. Yes. I don't need to look at any of the information that they submitted. I don't care where the house is. I don't care if it's vacant, tenant occupied, owner occupied, listed with a realtor, or if it's run down, abandoned, and hasn't been lived in for 10 years. It doesn't make a difference to me. Zero. And the reason is because the key to conversion is conversations. Wow. If I can't get past the conversation, I can't even worry about the conversion. So I'm not worried about if this is a great situation or a bad situation. I don't care if it's a single family house or an apartment building. I want to be able to talk to somebody. because I'm confident not only in my own self and my own abilities, but more importantly in the programs and the strategies that have been set out, time tested, and proven to work for years before I was involved in this.
Right.
If people think wholesaling is a new thing since TikTok came around or something like that, you're sorely mistaken. I mean, there's literally folks that I meet that are, you know, in their mid 70s, and they're like, oh yeah, I got into this business, you know, back in 1968 or 1970. It's just people didn't know about it back then. It wasn't as popular. It wasn't as well known. It wasn't as discussed. But if you think that there's not been people out there trying to buy something for cheaper and sell it for more expensive since the dawn of time, you're crazy. So to me, I look at the key to conversions, I'm sorry, as kind of three simple things. The first thing is action. Anything in this business revolves around action. If you can't implement the action, then you need to check up from the neck up, because you got to figure out what's going on in here, not what's going on in here. You know what I mean? You can have all the heart in the world, but if you don't put any action behind it, you're nothing. You know what I mean? Mike Tyson was a great fighter. If he refused to ever throw a punch, he would have never been the champ that he was. You know what I mean? So my first thing is action. Take action upon the lead. Call the person. We can figure out all the other information with the lead once we're on the phone with them. I can easily be doing, you know, a few things, looking at a property online, things like that. The second thing that I would say is, after I take the action and I pick up the phone, be confident. And the reason I say the confidence is because selling is a transfer of an emotion. And I understand that not everybody gets into this business to try and become a top level salesperson or anything like that. I don't mean that by any means, but I do mean that if I can be excited about my opportunity, I can be excited about the chance that I have, because let's be honest, we all woke up today. There are some folks that didn't. You know what I mean? There's just last night, I was walking my dogs in a neighbor's house that's, you know, a 2-minute walk down the street. I saw ambulances in front of it, saw some neighbors outside. Oh my gosh, what happened? John had a heart attack after he ate dinner, passed away. As sad as that might be, John was a nice guy. He was older. I didn't know him super well. But guess what? His family has to move on today with John never being part of their life again. We all have the greatest opportunity in the freaking world. You woke up. So what are you going to do with the day now that you're part of it? You know what I mean? Are you going to embrace the challenge and go out there and fight for what's, you know what I mean, what your heart desires? Or are you going to sit back and cry the woe is me? I wish, you know, oh, I wish I had better leads. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. Well, what's stopping you? I mean, we're literally living in the greatest time to be alive. There's more opportunities in life right now than there has been probably the last 150 years, in my opinion. So if we don't embrace that and pursue it with everything we have and live with that burning passion to get out there and to get after it, to try and find that motivation, I don't know what to tell you. But if you can tap into yourself and find that motivation and surround yourself with a positive mental attitude and positive mental influences, then you take an action, you put that action with a great attitude, outlook, and self-confidence. And the reason I say that those two things are important, Athi, is because it's as simple as this. I said this to a person I was trying to give some helpful advice to the other day, a newer client. And I said, you know, the funny thing is I asked him, we'll just call him Bill. I don't want to say his name without him knowing that I'm going to talk about him, but we'll say Bill. I said, Bill, let me ask you a question. When's the last time you think they sat around at the neighborhood HOA meeting, the homeowners association, and said, all right, guys, today we're going to discuss how to not sell your home to internet buyers? They've never run a meeting like that. I guarantee you. Yet every day we have the chance to sit here and educate ourselves, to learn new things about this industry, to get better, to refine our craft, to practice our closing, to learn our scripts better, to learn how to overcome objections. So it's like I'm sitting here 6-7 days a week training for a championship fight. And then the day of the fight, they say, oh, by the way, Jesse, you don't have to worry about fighting the heavyweight champ. You're just going to fight this guy who's never even been in a fight before. It's not even fair. I'm going to maul over those objections left and right. Why? Because this is what I do for a living, baby. You know what I mean? I am pumped. I'm excited to get on that phone. Why am I excited to get on the phone? Because I know that what's floating around up here is on such a different level than what these people are even prepared for. It doesn't matter what they're going to say. I'm ready for it. And even if I'm not ready for it, guess what I'm going to say? Perfectly fine. I completely understand. Let me ask you another question. And the reason why is because I'm going to control the flow. I'm going to control the conversation. Just like a good fighter is going to get in the ring and they're going to make sure they control that ring. I'm going to control that same conversation. I'm going to control my outcome because I don't leave things up to chance. I don't sit there and say, well, Hessel Media gave me a script I could use, but I'm not going to use it. Or I know Jesse talks to me about listening to their objection, restating it back to them, isolate that objection, and then overcome it and ask for the order again. But I'm not going to listen to that either. No, I'm going to listen to every single piece of information that I can get, and I'm going to apply what I can, and I'm going to let everything else kind of go to the side. But again, I want to take in as much information as I possibly can, because all that is for me is just ammunition. You know what I mean? If I was to go into a gunfight, I'd rather have 1,000 bullets than 100. I'd rather have 50 exit strategies on a property than one. So my theory on conversions in general is stop prejudging, take action, and be confident. If you do those three simple things, it's almost impossible to not be able to convert deals, in my opinion. And if you're still struggling with it, again, not trying to tout Hessel's platform or anything like that. I know that's not the purpose of this call. But again, if you learn your script, if you're paying attention and taking advantage of the conversion trainings, and you're putting in all the effort on your part and you're still not getting results, that's really the great thing about Hessel, because then Hessel or the account managers like yourself reach out to a guy like me and say, hey, I have this client, Bill. He's been getting some of these weird objections. Would you mind jumping on a phone call with him, talk to him for a little bit, maybe make a few phone calls? And guess what my answer always is? Of course, not a problem. You know what I mean? Because again, we're one team with one dream, pushing towards one goal. And that's not to make Hessel the #1 company in the world, which it's going to be, but it's to try and make sure that we promote ourselves as people, our businesses locally, so that we're involved with the community, so that people don't just look at us like, oh, there's that scumbag that wants to buy homes for cheap. Instead, you're the hero of the community. You're the guy that's sponsoring little league teams. You're the guy that's actually making nice homes for families to live in. Or in my case, with a lot of wholesaling, I look at it like this. Even though I don't flip a lot of the properties myself, even though I'm not necessarily the landlord on most of the properties, they get sold to other, management companies, things like that. I'm the integral part, because without my outbound marketing, without me being able to reach out to you as my customer service manager and say, Afi, let's change up, the ads that we're going to run this week. Let's increase our spending in this market, decrease in this market. If I'm not putting in that effort, then I can't expect a great result. But the cool thing is with you guys is I have that access to you guys at any time that I need it. So I can do everything that I need on my end, because I'm confident that you guys are going to try and do everything you can to help me on the back end, if that makes sense. Like, it's 100%. A true partnership. Listen, we're thousands of miles apart from each other right now. You know what I mean? That's the truth. We're in different continents right now, but it's the exact same as you're sitting at my desk or I'm sitting at yours. And I'm like, Afi, let's strategize. What can we do to try and get our leads up for this week? You know what I mean? I only got in, 5 leads this week. I need to be able to get that up to 12 next week. What can we do? And it's great that I can rely and lean on a person like you, because me, I'm a seller. That's what I am. And I don't mean like I'm a seller, like I'm selling houses. I always used to say I'm a seller, not a speller. My grammar is not perfect. My education is not some Ivy League educated person, but I can sit in front of anybody, or I can stand in front of anybody and talk shit all day long. And what I'm not good at and what's not my genius is understanding algorithms and understanding the IT side of the business. Put me on the phone with anybody, I don't care. I'm happy as a clam. You know what I mean? Literally, you just get me involved in a conversation and I'm just as happy as can be. Sit there and try and tell me, hey, learn how Facebook ad works or ads work. And I'm like, you can maybe keep my attention for 30, you know this, like from dealing with me, it's like, you've got about a 30-second attention span from me before I'm like, oh, look, a shiny nickel over in the corner. And I'm off doing something else. It's not my genius. My genius is talking and relaying that passion, that drive for life, that getting internally motivated to go out there and take advantage of your day. So that's why I rely on people like you guys that are able to fill in the gaps where I come a little short, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. Man, I love your energy and your passion about this, So just to recap, stop prejudging, take action and be confident, right?
Yeah.
So those are steps that, especially with what has to do with the leads, because sometimes what I've seen is that a lead will come in, maybe this one is not in your market and someone will not even contact that lead, right? So you mentioned about our community that we have. They can always JV with someone in the community, right?
True story, Afi. A lead I got last month. Which we can go over this. I'm not going to go through all my leads with you right now, but a lead we got, I think it was last month or maybe it was in February, one of those two.
Okay.
It was for a trailer, a really rundown trailer. And at first I made the mistake of seeing it come through on my cell phone. And I did my own, I went against my own advice. I was in really heavy traffic. I tried to call the guy twice. He didn't answer. So I was like, well, let me at least pull up the house on Zillow and see what it looks like. So I pull it up on my phone and it's a trailer straight out of the 60s. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, I don't really have a lot of space in my, where I live and where I market in. Mobile homes aren't really a great lead because they're hard to get financing. Even if you make it gorgeous, it's hard to resell, as well as you have to pay lot rent, et cetera, et cetera. So I started to prejudge and I was like, this is a bad lead. As I was getting ready to tell myself mentally, it's a bad lead, my phone rings. I answer it and I could look at the CRM and get you the name, but it was in a market that I'm not familiar with, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away from me, closer to Philadelphia than where I'm at. I don't do a lot of business out there. Mm-hmm. It was out of my market. It was a trailer that I had no interest in. And the guy had said that he wanted $55,000 for it. So I was like, this guy, excuse my language, but I was like, this guy's a crackhead. He's not a client. You know what I mean? So as I'm starting to prejudge, the phone rings. I answer it and I said the company name and I saw it was coming from my CRM, which is again provided forward by you guys on that number. So I jump on and hey, how's it going? You know what I mean? I just went back to what I know. I got your information submitted to me. I wanted to call and follow up. Can you tell me a little bit about the property? He said, sure, not a problem. So if in the first words out of his mouth were, if you look it up online, it shows a really crappy trailer, but it doesn't show the single family 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house behind it.
No way.
We ended up talking, found out that the trailer was the house or a thing that his parents originally lived in. And then when he got older and made some money for himself, he built a house behind it because it was a large plot of land. His parents continued to live in the trailer once they passed away. Last year, he had the trailer removed. And to not go through all of the details with it, long story short, it was a house with an ARV. It needed minimal repairs. It needed a new roof put on it. It had about a 22-year-old roof that was starting to show some signs of wear and tear. And it needed a few touch-ups around the kitchen and things like that. Nothing major, about $10,000 in repairs total. The ARV on it was $280,000. I put it under contract for $165,000. Disposed it instantly, pretty much. Sold it off to an investor friend of mine that focuses more in that area, and ended up walking with $32,000 in cash from it. And again, that $32,000 The only reason I'm saying that is that was prejudge money. That was money that I literally almost threw out because of my own stupid not following my own advice. Because, and the truth is I know that there's probably 5 to 7 out of 10 people that do this that would have looked at that lead, looked at the address, saw the picture online, and just figured it's trash.
Yep.
Don't even need to talk to this guy.
Yep.
No point in calling him, no point in doing anything. And it's like we said on one conversion call last week or this week, it was like, look, I'll take all your trash leads because I'll convert them into money. And then I'm going to go use that money that I converted into to buy cool art shit, like what's behind me, to build a $25,000 deck off the back of my house. To, you know, I did the $25,000 deck last year. I just signed up to spend another $30,000 on my backyard this year. So, you know, it's like all those garbage leads that people don't want. I'll be your trash can and I'll laugh my ass the whole way to the bank with them. You know what I mean? Wow, that's my philosophy on it. And then another one that I just, what's that?
I said, what would you do with the leads? People call them trash leads. What would you do with them?
I'd call them.
You call them and have a conversation, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd call them and say, hey, I'd call them. And when you answer and don't know who I am or what's going on, I answer. When somebody answers the phone on me, I act like we're already friends. I never do the hi, is Afi available or anything like that. I just, hey, Afi, what's going on? And usually the person's like, not much. Who's this? Jesse. Jesse who? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you remembered me. I've never spoke to you before. How would you remember me? But it gets you involved in the conversation. It gets you asking me something about myself or where I'm from or what I'm doing. And that's the whole point of it. You know, questions control a conversation. So I just want to try and be as engaging as I can with the person to try and promote the conversation, keep them interested and intrigued enough to stay on the phone with me. And even if they say, I can't talk right now, I have to go, not a problem, sir. Hey, can you just 20 more seconds? I just have one other question for you. I got a deal last week. You'd have to check. I know I messaged you about it.
Yeah. This one that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So this lady had already spoken to multiple other cash buyers. She already had a realtor, 2 realtors come out, look at the property and had an appraisal done on the property. Okay. And she ended up seeing my Facebook ad and clicked on it, filled out the information. I was a little nervous at first because when she submitted the ad in all capital letters, it said, do not call before the appointment time that she booked as her own personal note to me. Not a problem, ma'am. But even though I didn't call her, the CRM did its thing. So she got emails confirming her appointment time. She got text messages reminding her of her appointment time. She got another email asking what some of the reasons that she would consider selling the property. So, and she was interacting with all those. So these weren't just going as unresponded to text messages. When the text message got sent out, it got sent out without me even, I was walking my dogs when the text message got sent out that said, hey, Joyce, looking forward to our conversation today at 11 o'clock. Can't wait. And she responded, me too. Thanks so much. It was like right there. It was like, oh my God, this thing's done. This is done. Like she doesn't know it yet, but it's done. So I get on the phone with her and she is, let's just say, not the easiest person to deal with. She can be a bit abrasive. And it was funny because the day before that, I was coaching somebody, or I was talking to somebody out in California, and they were kind of going through some of the objections that they've been getting. And the one he said was, when I call people, they'll say, I'm at work right now. And he's like, and I always tell him like, okay, what's a better time I can call you back? When can I get a hold of you? When can we talk? He said, but then they never pick back up. And I said, well, the way I usually answer when they say, well, I'm at work right now, I say, cool, so am I. And I move on to the next question. And that's exactly what I did. She said, I'm just letting you know, I can't stay on the phone for long because I'm at work. And I said, oh, no kidding, me too. What do you do for a living? And she said, why does that matter? I said, well, you know what I do for a living. I thought we were friends here, Joyce. And that little pause made her do exactly what you're doing right now. Even though I didn't see her face, I bet you she smiled. I bet you, because I heard the change in the pitch of her voice. I heard her go from, I'm at work right now, to, why does that matter? To, oh, I work for the Department of State in Harrisburg. Instantly, now I have something to warm up with her on. Oh, you work for the Department of State? Oh my gosh, my aunt was actually a receptionist for the Department of State a long time ago. I don't even remember. So you work in Harrisburg? Yeah. And you live in Harrisburg too? Yeah. Oh, great. Are you from there originally? Yep, born and raised. How about your kids? Do they still live locally? Well, my one son lives over in Mechanicsburg, town 20 minutes away. And my other daughter, she lives over in Swatara Township. Now, all of a sudden, she went from being an aggressive person that had literally turned down multiple other cash people. And all of a sudden, now she's telling me about her husband had passed away. That's why she wants to sell the house. She's going to move in with her daughter because her daughter's in the process of building a new house, and they're going to have the basement changed to in-law quarters. So without me even having to try and fact find, just from making nice, comfortable, casual conversation, she started telling me how to sell her. So then it got down to money. Let's talk the money, Joyce. And she said, well, here's the thing. The house appraised for $265,000 in 2020. She said, so I know it's worth that. She said, but I had my husband pass away recently. She said, I still have to clean out his stuff. I'm trying to figure out what I want to keep, what I want to pack, what I want to do with. And she starts telling me all these things about why she doesn't want to have to sell it, the house, in the condition that it's in, which is in great condition, but that she doesn't want to be bothered with showings and strangers coming into the house and things like that. And I said, well, Joyce, it sounds like you have a really, really unique situation. And I said, why wouldn't you just wait until you move out of the house and then sell it and list it? She said, well, I was the one that was, I'm the one that's paying to convert this house that my daughter's building. And I'm going to pay to convert the whole downstairs into in-law quarters. I said, okay. And she said, and I need the money from selling the house to be able to build that out the way that I want, because their builder's not finishing the basement. I said, okay, I understand. And I said, but let me ask you a question, Joyce. Why should I buy this property? Why should I pay you the money that you want for it? Because you have to sell me. I said, and I'm not saying like I don't want to buy the house, but you said that you've met with multiple other people. Realtors have told you how they'd sell it super easy. Cash buyers came through and kept trying to talk you into just letting them list it for you and to try and turn it into a novation deal. I said, why didn't you go with any of them? She said, because I don't trust them. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, did you have conversations with all of them? She said, no. She said, a couple of them I was texting with, a few of them I talked to on the phone, and one guy tried to show up at the house, and she said it lasted for 5 minutes, and I just told him I thought it was best he leave. And I said, do you feel like you can trust me so far? True answer. She said, absolutely. She said, every text message that you sent me was so nice and polite. You responded to all my emails. You called me at the appointment time that I set. She said, why wouldn't I trust you? I did none of that, Afi. I literally did none of it. In fact, I would have probably screwed it up if I tried to. You know what I mean? But what's not golden about that? And I said, well, I really appreciate that trust, Joyce. That's why we work really hard to try and, deliver for our customers. And I said, so now that we understand that I trust you, you trust me, I believe the information that you're telling me. And I had her send me a whole bunch of pictures of stuff. I said, I think it really comes down to, you feel I'm a good fit for the property. And I feel like, I'm a good fit for the property for you. I think I can make this super easy for you. And I think that you can try and make it easy for me. I said, I think the biggest gap that we've got to figure out how we're going to cross is the price. I said, because Joyce, the truth is for me to do those repairs, to pay you the cash for it, to keep the electricity on, to keep the lights on, the grass cut for the maybe month or two that it's going to take me to sell it, that all comes at a price. And I said, unfortunately, our company's name is Easy Exit Home Solutions. It's not the Salvation Army. We're not a charitable organization. I said, so you have to be willing to make it worth my time and give me a discount that represents the convenience that I'm trying to provide for you now that we trust each other. So again, I just rolled it right back into I build her up and then I ask for a discount. And she went from you can remember this, if you look on the lead form, she had put down that she was firm on her price and she wouldn't take less than 250,000.
Mm-hmm.
But yet when I said, so what can you do for me to bridge that gap? She went from 250 to 210. First thing. Well, look, I know I said 250 online, but I really like you. And it seems like this would be super easy. And she just kept saying, for some reason, I trust you. And she said, so I think I could do 210. And I said, well, we're not far apart on the price. And this is something I was talking with somebody about yesterday, because she was at 250,000. My ideal buy price for me, what I wanted to make on the deal was I wanted to be between 180 and like 190, 195 on the high end. There's four comps that have sold on that street since December of 2022. So in the last 4 months, there's been 4 homes that have sold on that street. Cheapest one was 276. Most expensive was 305. So I know it's a profitable deal for me. Yeah. And again, I just said, I appreciate the fact that you're willing to come down to the 210,000. That makes me know that you're pretty serious about selling this property, Joyce. And I hope that from the fact that I've been on the phone with you now for 20 minutes, that I'm just as serious about buying it. I said, but the truth is I don't want to talk to you about the price yet, because I realized early on that, I realized early on in my sales career that if I have to try and negotiate against 250,000 or whatever the number might be, even 210,000, that's a big number for somebody to deal with. But if I can break it down to a small digestible number, as in, let me ask you a question, Joyce. I know you said your number was 210,000. My number is 180,000. And I said, and I can tell you all the reasons why it is. I said, but let's not focus on either of those two numbers. Let's focus on the difference of just the 30,000. I said, so all I want to talk to you about is the difference of the 30,000. And then I went through and just had a nice conversation with her. I said, I want you to fast forward your time. I know that you're going through so much stress right now, so many things that are up in the air. You're still grieving from your husband. I said, but I want you to think about Christmas 5 years from now, when you get to walk up your daughter's stairs and see the grandkids opening the presents. I said, and you walk up those stairs on Christmas morning, you get to help make breakfast. You get to do all the fun stuff that grandma gets to do. And then not only do you have to not get in your car and drive back across town to go home, instead, you just get to walk down the stairs to your gorgeous finished apartment. Are you still going to be sitting there upset about the difference of the $30,000? Or are you just going to be so happy that you were able to be part of your grandkids' lives in the way that you were? She was like, well, that makes sense. I said, of course it does. I said, because at the end of the day, that's what's really important to us, right? Getting you close to your family, getting you to be able to live with your daughter, finish off the apartment the way that you want. I said, now I understand my 180,000 number might not work for you, but the 210 can't work for me. I said, so how about we meet in the middle at 185? And I said that because I knew what she was going to say. That's not the middle. You know what I mean? I just went up 5,000. I'm asking her to come down. And she said, well, that's not the middle. And I said, well, I've never been good at math. I said, what's the middle? And she said 195. I said, oh, Joyce, you're killing me. I said, you just stuck a dagger through my heart. And here I thought we were becoming friends. And she laughed. And I said, no, honestly, Joyce, if I could pay you the 195, would you definitely do the deal? And she said, I don't know. And I said, no, I'm asking you because if I could, I would. I said, so in order for me to go to my back end people, my administrators and say, hey, listen, I really think we got a good deal with this at 195. They want to know that you're serious about it. I said, so if I could, would you definitely do it? And she said, well, I think. And I said, well, that's better than a no, Joyce. I said, but here's the thing. Like I said, if I could, the fact is I can't. I said, I'm actually communicating with them on the back end. By communicating with them on the back end, I mean, thinking in my own mind. I said, I'm communicating with them on the back end, Joyce. And I said, they're really stuck on this 190 number. I said, now let me ask you a question. If I could extract every single dime possible out of these guys, I said, I mean, I'll twist their arms until they break off. I said, if I could get you up to $192,000, where we still cover the transfer, fees, the title insurance, all the title paperwork, and make this the easiest transaction you've ever dealt with in your life, is there any reason that you wouldn't say yes and go ahead with the offer today, knowing that it's going to get you to where your end result is, which is to get into your daughter's home ASAP? She said, not since you put it like that. I think that makes sense. I said, great. Let me send you over the contract now. We'll walk over it. And then I sent her the contract. She ended up coming back saying, would you mind if you came out and signed this in person? She said, I would much rather meet the person that I'm going to be selling this home to rather than just doing it online. And at that time, sometimes I will, sometimes I won't, but she's close. She's about 30 minutes away. So I just said, sure. What's the time that could work for you? And we set it up for the next day after she got off work, went out and got it done. So, we were able to structure it so that she has 90 days to be able to figure out other things and stuff like that. And we're helping her with one other little back end thing, which is she was worried about getting her bedroom set, which was the last thing that her and her husband bought together. And she was concerned about getting it out of the house and into her new place. And I said, well, again, our company's name's Easy Exit. We'll make this easy for you. I'll take care of it. What's it going to cost me? $100 for a U-Haul rental, and a couple bucks for some people and some moving blankets to go, throw this thing in the back of a truck, politely, not literally throw it in the truck, but drive it across town. I'll do that any day of the week, and I don't know how to do. And listen, I'm not a builder. I'm not a construction guy. I don't swing hammers. There's nothing wrong with that. I respect the shit out of people that can do that stuff. But if you want a house to fall down, let me build it for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Otherwise, I rely, again, because I focus on my genius and I allow others to focus on theirs. So I'm not a moving company. I'm not a demolition company. I'm not a builder. But I can pay a lot of really good builders. I can pay a great moving person. I can pay a junk and trash removal company, because my whole goal is to, my time is too valuable. In the time that it would take me to go put on some, dirty clothes and go rent a dumpster and trash out a place, I could easily be grabbing another lead, calling people off the MLS, following up.
That deal.
Turn a new profit, so that's what we focus on.
Man, Jesse, thank you so much for sharing that, man. I think there's a powerful example of negotiating and actually being a person and creating a relationship. I think that's the most important thing. So I really love what you shared, the detail that you shared. I feel like I was part of that negotiation as well as you were sharing that.
You're always part of it in heart. You're always there with me in spirit, Afi.
Oh, man, thanks for that. But yeah, man, I know that we don't have a lot of time, but I just want to ask you this question. Maybe we have about 3, 4, 5 minutes. Sure. If someone is on the fence of joining this community of Hessel, what would you say to them? And what would be something that, like, for example, a takeaway that you can give them to help them as well?
Yeah. So the first natural answer, I mean, that I'm a pretty blunt person. How much longer do you want to continue to delay your future? Because your future is going to happen to you whether you're part of it or not. You know what I mean? Your future, you're either going to run your life or your life's going to run you. You know what I mean? So it's real simple, in my opinion. If you're on the fence about, joining Hessel Media, signing up as a new client, really my response to that is, what are you waiting for? You know what I mean? Because you're obviously interested in it because you're interested in trying to create another lead source or to have inbound leads coming in involving the real estate industry. So let's go through the pros and cons. Pros, with Hessel, you're going to get a full service agency. You're going to get a dedicated account manager. You're going to get an entire library of resources to be able to actually help you with paper documents. You're going to get an entire library and resource of people like myself and similar people that are there to try and help you and facilitate your growth. And then you're also going to have the, in my opinion, best customer service experience that I've had in, the last decade of sales industry stuff, of working hand in hand with people that actually care. You know what I mean? What are the cons of dealing with Hessel Media? It costs money. Yeah, it does. Yeah. That's part of life. You know what I mean? And to that, I would say it costs money to make money, but it only costs money until you get that one deal. My very first deal, you know this, my very first deal with Hessel Media, I made $18,000 on. Very first one. Guess what that paid for? Hessel Media for the next 6 or 7 months. You know what I mean? And that month I got 3 deals from Hessel Media. So it quickly took me out of the red and threw me way into the black, and then put another 100,000 on top of it.
On top of it, man.
So, what would stop a person from signing up from Hessel Media? Reservations. What kind of reservations can the person have? Well, is it worth the money? I can tell you from my experience, yes, it absolutely is. Again, because you're getting so much more than just a lead. If we were talking, hey, listen, we're going to run your Facebook ads and we're going to charge you X amount of money, and that's all it is, I would still be with Hessel because of the level of customer service that I get. But when you stack all of the things on top of it, it really, for me, becomes a no-brainer. And that's as a person that's, run direct sales companies that I've spent huge advertising budgets. I remember back 22 years ago when I first kind of got into business, back then we were still dealing with newspapers. And just for me to run a little 1-inch wide by like 3-inch long ad for 2 days in a newspaper, it was $700. Wow. Now I'm literally able to advertise in my county and the 5 surrounding counties where I live, able to reach hundreds of thousands of people for what, $100 a day, $120 a day, something like that. I mean, that's a no-brainer for a guy like me. And I think it all kind of goes back to when I was really young. I was told a line that for some reason always stuck with me, which is there's a lot of people out there that live to work, right? Always go to work to live. Meaning, if you're going to be willing to take charge of your opportunity and you're going to be willing to actually go out there with some passion, some drive, some desire, to get fired up from the inside out, so to speak. If you're willing to do that and you're willing to put that passion into your work, you're going to be able to live a life that most people dream of. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go to work. I'm not going to go work a 9 to 5 and be a slave to a time clock just so that I can, at the end of the day, say, well, if we really save up all our money this year, we might be able to take the kids on vacation. Excuse my language, but screw that. You know what I mean? Like, screw that. Listen, I don't have a bunch of degrees from a fancy college or anything like that. I grew up, a very average lifestyle, with a working class mom that struggled, to support my brother and I. And now, through my own hard work, my own motivation, and the shit that floats around between my 2 big ears, I'm able to live a life that, I honestly never would have dreamed of, when I was 15, 16 years old. I wanted it, you know what I mean? I wanted the financial security to be able to, if I feel like flying to LA tomorrow and flying first class, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? If I just flew down to, I flew down to Florida to see a good friend of mine that's in the military. I flew first class, and my 2 little rescue dogs, one that I got out of an alleyway, and the other one I got like 2 days before she was euthanized and she just looked old and crazy. They flew on the first class seat beside me. You know what I mean? Why? Because I'm not going to book my dogs. If I got to sit beside somebody on a plane, I'm going to sit beside the 2 little mutts that hang out with me all the time. It was hilarious. It was like, I'm taking 2 little shitheads and flying in first class. What's not to love about that? You know what I mean? And that's what opportunity is.
Hey man, thank you so much, bro. I know that I also want to respect your time because your time is valuable as well. But thank you for joining in this call and sharing your experience with us. And thank you for being a great partner, great client, great friend.
Yeah.
Definitely, every time I'm with you, I always learn a lot. So thank you for that. So we basically out of time. So,
No
but
worries, man. I know I talk and talk and talk.
Now I want to be respectful of your time as well, but definitely we'll make another success call with the other one, with the sales training, the conversion training, and all those things. But thank you so much for sharing your experience, and keep up doing the good work, man.
Thanks, man. And the only thing I would just like to close with this, and if somebody's still watching the video at this point and they are new and they're considering signing up, is I would say, listen, if you're the type of person that struggles maybe with some motivational issues, if you're the type of person that maybe doesn't have, you have the desire, you have the work ethic, but you don't have the knowledge. If you're the type of person that feels like you're destined for greatness, but you're not sure what, avenue to take to get there, don't hesitate. Sign up for Hessel. The worst thing that can happen is you waste 2 or 3 months of your time, a little tiny bit of money, and you don't get the results that you hoped. But the best thing that can happen is it could be life-changing for you. You're going to get to work with people like myself, Athi, Carlos, and several of the other people. And I hope that we could try and show you that it's not by chance, it happens by purpose, and it happens from, being fired up and motivated. So with that, go out and live with some passion. I think that's it. So see ya.